Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. How many of you have already know? We can switch off the TV sometime. The prayers that we sing, the Jai Radha Madhava prayers, or rather, let me raise of hands. How many of you don't know the Jai Radha Madhava prayers? No, pretty good. You don't know. Do we have the prayers? We don't. That's why I actually pulled it up. But since we only have one person, this will help you, just for you. Very nice. Oh, look, keep it. So we'll all sing together if we can. Of course, I'll lead and you follow kind of situation. So this is a very beautiful prayer. Srila Prabhupada had expected us to sing every time we discuss something. And so it brings us to a very beautiful realm. We are in the temple of Shri Radha Kalachandji in front of Srila Prabhupada. And we see these beautiful paintings that are actually windows to the spiritual world. And this prayer actually depicts the pastimes that Sri Krishna actually engages in when he is in the spiritual world. And then when we are in the spiritual world, we experience those, we see those. And hence, when we sing these prayers and remember the pastimes, we also get transported to the spiritual world. So let's try to do that a little bit. As soon as we leave the temple and the temple premises, we have an entire world waiting for us, whether we like it or not. Right? We have our jobs and our families and our responsibilities and so on and so forth. But in this temple room, let's try and see if we can focus our consciousness a little bit, for lack of a better word, on entering into the spiritual world. It's a very beautiful place. So please sing with your hearts. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhare Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Janaval Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Kalachanji Radha Kalachanji Shri Radhe Kalachanji Radha Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Gaura. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Bhagwan ki jai, Bhagavad Gita Yatharup ki. I'm going to discuss some very interesting part. Does anyone have any questions before we start? How many of you are here for the first time? Did you raise your hand? No, okay, I started. Everyone is an expert here, especially Dauji. Dauji, can you raise your hand? Any questions? Anything that is really bothering your heart or really something that you would like to express or discuss? We can think about that. Anything? No? Yes. All right, so we had a wonderful guest this past 2 days, His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. For those who do not know, can Google him. And Gauranga Prabhu has been an inspiration and a guide for several devotees across the world. And when he came, he gave some very instructional discourses. And his discourses are like the most concentrated medicine you can think of. Right? So over a period of time, you take bits and pieces of what's concentrated, dilute them a little bit, and, and try to assimilate that as much as we possibly can. So that's what I've been doing, or at least trying to do. So I thought, let's talk about, in principle, why are we here in this temple room? Right? We discussed that. There are a million places we could go to, but all of you very graciously chose to be in this temple room, sitting down and listening to a person you have never seen speak. It is really phenomenal. So why are we in this temple room? And then let's see if we can address that issue with what the scriptures tell us on how that needs to be done as What is the process of getting there? And then finally, we'll talk about, as an engineer, the most important part that I need to understand. Any one of you engineers here? Raise of hands. Yeah, we have quite a few engineers. So, what's the most important thing you need to do? Is to figure out a cheat sheet. How can I cheat through these exams? Not cheat. Let me take that. But how can I make sure that I get the simplest, easiest way of passing my exams without having to go through all of this mess again, right? So let's talk about that, right? Before we start, let's have a quick invocation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, put your hands together if you can and repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Together, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Spawn in the darkness of ignorance, my spiritual master. Open my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances to him. So, this is Sri Prahlad. This is very instructive. The first thing that I was told by a very senior devotee, His Grace Mahaprabhu Prabhu, Gokulananda Prabhu probably remembers him. When we started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, was that you can start with the 7th canto. Usually start from the first, slowly grow up. But he said, start with the 7th canto. And then go back to the first. Okay. The primary discussion in the 7th canto is the story of Prahlad. Does anyone not know who Prahlad Maharaj is? Prahlad is the son of someone who had conquered the entire universal creation. Very phenomenal personality. Anyone of you are conquerors of the entire universal creation? Raise of hands. We need you. Look there. No, maybe. He had everything under control, apparently. He could decide what the weather channel would look like today. He could decide when the sun rose. He could decide the sun set. He could decide how the course of his life is going to be today. He could decide where he wanted to be. He could decide where the stock markets are going to go, up or down. Nice, right? He could decide, he had apparently could decide when he would die. He had all these benedictions that prevented him from dying in all different circumstances, which allowed him to live immortally for millions and millions of years. And he had a son named Prahlad. And Prahlad, in the womb of his mother, Kayadu, heard the glories of the Lord through the discussions of Sri Narada. And within his womb, he completely realized that the essential elements of what it takes, or what is it that the material world that we live in is actually worth. Yes. So when he was born, when he was born, he was sent to school, and his teachers taught him all the essential elements of life. How do you live in a way that you can be successful? Yes. Do we agree that most of us go to school to learn how to be successful? How many of us go to school to be unsuccessful? How many of us go to school to be do something with my life? Most of us do, right? Yeah. And so that's how Hiranyakashipu essentially thought, Prahlad, please go. You're now going to also inherit possibly whatever I have. You have to rule the entire universe. And so better learn how to do that. Would you do that if you're a parent? What do you think, Dauji? So when Prahlad was a certain age, he asked his teachers to bring him to him and ask him, what have you learned? Yes, our parents ask us that, right? What have you, Raseshwari, does your dad ask you, what have you learned in school today? Yes, no? Raseshwari is transcendental to everything. So he asked, and during the course of the discussion, Prahlad Maharaj gives some sort of an answer as to why we come to this temple also. So this is open forum. Why have you come here? Hopefully this is not offensive to anyone. Once I asked this question, people walked away. Maybe I'm asking you in a very humble way. Why have you come to the temple? Why have you come to the temple? Any? Yes? The association of like-minded, positive reinforcement, like-minded people. Okay. Anything else? Wonderful. Thank you. This is wonderful. I appreciate it. Controlling your senses. Controlling your senses. We'll see what happens when the prasadam shows up. Yeah, wonderful. Controlling our senses. What else? Yes, Ankur Prabhu. So that Krishna can see you. To hear and chant together. Gokulananda Prabhu saying. Anything else? Yes, Kaili. See Radharani, I was like, Krishna. Ankur Prabhu, you can watch the dude. But wonderful, yes. So we come to the temple for essentially purification. Yes. That anyone else? I'm not hoping there's no more answers. To listen to me. That's the wrong answer. It's one wrong answer. Anything. To get peace. To get peace. Wonderful. Yes. So, yeah, when we don't have answers, we come here for answers. Yeah, sometimes we don't even have questions because we have no idea what's going on. What do we even ask? You're right, absolutely. And so there is this deep internal quest for understanding. Kiami, who am I? Why am I getting old? Why aren't things under my control? Why am I not peaceful? There's no one telling us not to be peaceful. Yes, Dave? No one's forcing us to be unpeaceful. Why is it that our senses are troubling us? These are your senses. You own them. Do you agree? So why are they troubling you? Why do you have to control something that you own? Which either means you don't own them, or that the senses are controlling us. And then the question is, who are we? Yes. Who is the proprietor of the senses? And through all of this, how can I be happy? Gokulananda Prabhu, a devotee here in the back, to get the association of those like-minded devotees to sing and chant and together the holy names of the Lord, so that we can be happy, so that we can internally connect deeply with the Lord. Now, as we progress in our spiritual life, we sometimes forget that. We actually came to the temple to be happy. Happens a lot. As we come to the temple, and sometimes we start asking for those things that are actually not making us happy. Have you seen that happen? I do that all the time. Yes. I'll start with myself. You come in here, you're disturbed. There are so many things that are going on in our lives. Yes. Good or bad, but you're coming here and all of a sudden, after you see the deities, we get distracted. Once you see the deities, everything else happens. Premachandra Prabhu is leading the chanting. How many of you who were here? How many of you were here for the chanting? Some of you were here. Yes. Now, how many of you can honestly say that while we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, our mind was completely focused on the chanting? That's one person. Dave, two people. Two people. The rest of us, like me, manorathena asti dhavato bhahi. Yes. That the mind forces us to run away from those things that make us happy. We are in front of the Supreme Lord Himself. We are in the association of those that within their heart hold sacred a relationship with God. There is nothing better that can happen to us. And in that situation, we decide to go someplace else in the mind. Yes. We have worries about what's going to happen next. We worries about what others tell us. We worries about our distractions. So many different things. So Prahlad Maharaj, when he was asked, Hiranyakashipu asked him, what have you learned? So wonderful verse. Matirna Krishne parato svatova mitho vipadhet griha vratanam adant gobhir vishatam tamishram punha punha charvitam charvananam. Wonderful verse. If you're wondering where I am pulling this up from, this is from the Veda base. So let's see. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, people too addicted to material life make progress. So we do make progress, but toward hellish conditions, and repeatedly chew that which already has been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Yes. Very interesting verse. He's saying we are chewing what is already being chewed. Any thoughts on what that means? Anyone have any thoughts on what that means? How many of us chew that which has already been chewed? Yeah. But realistically, has anyone chewed what has already been chewed? No? Chewing gum. Yeah, there you go. See? Huh? Yeah, mentally we go back through that same thing over and over again. How many of us decide to get up early in the morning? How many of us actually get up real early in the morning? Yeah. I'm talking about myself, right? Those very things that we know are good for us, we cannot do because sleeping is so pleasurable. Yes. How many of us eat more than necessary? Yes, my Guru Maharaj Radhana Swami, he gives an example of a person who's diabetic, and there was actually a devotee who went through that situation. He had severe diabetes, but his doctor said, you shouldn't be eating sweets. And he said, if you eat sweets one more time, you're finished, you're dead. Right? And then he goes to the temple and someone offers him, Prabhu, my dear master, sweets from Govardhan Puja. How can you refuse? This is Mahaprasad of the deities. Please take just one. I'll give you a box. Take the rest for your family. The family didn't get any. Yes. The next day he was back in the hospital. Yes. Then the doctor said, this is it. You're not getting out of here. He says, no, Krishna, I'm praying, Krishna, please give me one last chance, one last chance. The doctor said, why did you do this? He said, I didn't do it. I did not want to do it, but I was forced to do it. Very, very interesting situation. It happens with me all the time. Yes. I know it's not right for me. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but I'm forced to do it. The mind forces us into situations. Yes. It forces us to be angry, forces us to be proud, forces us to be greedy, forces us to distract ourselves from what our real purpose is. Yes, Kylie. We will talk about Govardhan sweets in a little bit. but yeah, it is hard to control the senses. And Arjun mentions that to Krishna, right? It's easier to control the wind, the hurricanes, than to control the mind. It forces us into that situation. Yes. And for those for those of us who are practicing, who have been around trying to do this for some time, you realize you can see it happen. Yes, and I speak for myself. I can see it happen. I know this is not good for me. Yes. But I cannot stop it from happening. Yes. Internally, it's very hard. Yes, we are asked, as Lord Jesus said, right? The kingdom of God is for the humble and meek. Yes, and we try and be humbler than a blade of grass. Great philosophy. Wonderful. It is actually what is required. And we go to the temple thinking, I am really humble. I will tolerate everything. Yes. And then someone comes and says, you make a nice offering, and someone says, what is this nasty thing you're offering to Krishna? All of a sudden, that humility goes out the window. Yes. Why you dressed like this? Why aren't you doing your rounds properly? Why are you not chanting nicely? Yes. Why are you so attached to your family and money? And someone asked in a class, someone said that. Why you say, like, what's in it for you? It's my family. I have to attach. Like, oh. Yes. We get angry. We start off with saying that no, I'm going to be humble and polite and nice and this, that, and that. But really, are we serious about that? Yes. And Krishna makes us essentially question this over and over again. So, okay, I didn't do that. Krishna's making us question a lot of stuff. So the problem of happiness does not, when you're chewing what is already being chewed, you get the iPhone 15, the 16, the 17, the 19, whatever else that might be, and we still are using the same phone to do pretty much the same things over and over again. Yes. However much we have, it's not going to be enough. The mind constantly is troubling us. So then the question is, part 2 of the discussion is, how do we get out of it? Yes. And so Prahlad Maharaj gives the answer. So let's see what the answer is. Anyone want to guess the answer? Some of you may know this. We come to the temple, we come here to look for happiness, to look for peace, to look for guidance. And then, when we do come here, the mind gets distracted, takes us away constantly. Yes. So, how do we constantly refocus ourselves? I want to show you a small video. Let's see. Lord of the TV allows me. One second, yeah. Can pull this up. Now, hopefully that's not too loud, but let's see if I can do this. This is by a doctor. He's given a TED talk, and it's a nice TED talk, and I thought it might actually help. Let's see if it works. This is when we all start praying. So, as we go into our journey of trying to control our mind, be happy, come to the temple, search for happiness, Prahlad Maharaj says it a little bit. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. It doesn't want this. So he says that for those who are too attached, for those whose senses cannot be controlled, there is only one way out. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava.
Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in this way can one be freed from material contamination.
Hare Krishna. The video that I showed you basically has the concept of what it takes to actually free us or allow us to be happy. What he's saying is that if you want to be happy, find someone who is. Right? Not very complicated. Now, he also mentioned something very interesting. Yes. When you do find someone who is happy, he's not going to or she's not going to tell us things which are not painful. You ask us to do some very interesting things, like please chant every single day the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But that's not all. Is chanting enough? Apparently not. You have to chant offenselessly. What does that even mean? First, our consciousness has to be cultivated. Yes, Gaurang Prabhu was talking about that. One has to be humbler than a blade of grass. One has to be tolerant like a tree. And this is the most difficult part. Try this. If you can try this, you would really be a saint. Offer all respects to others, but expect none in return. It's a tough call. And then we can chant the names of the Lord. Then he asks us, you have to follow some guidelines and some principles. Yes. When you're chanting, you have to be attentive. tells us you shouldn't be too much indulged in those things that are sense gratificatory. Yes. Don't drink intoxicants or smoke for that matter. No gambling. Only one girlfriend at a time. No illicit sex. Yes. And complete vegetarianism. And not just that, everything you eat, we have to offer to the Lord before we eat. Painful. But does it help? Well, according to Mr. Gaitonde, it does. Right. Coaches are meant to help us. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that we smear the dust of the feet of such a devotee on our body. Yes. We actually bathe. Abhishekam, Raja Abhishekam, Rajo Abhishekam. The dust of the feet of the Vaishnavas. That's why we touch the feet of the devotees. Anytime we come into the temple room, we offer obeisances. First, to everyone, before we offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. We come in, Vancha Kalpatarubhasha. My devotees, it's just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone. And it's just like you can do anything you want. And especially you can give the soul an experience of God. So we fall at the dust of these devotees. What does that really mean? Falling at the dust, taking the dust of someone and putting that on our head. It's not it's what you're getting is really phenomenal. But in return, it requires that we humble ourselves completely. We accept their instructions, we accept their guidance, we accept them to take the disease that is being troubling us so much. Now, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is very, very strict. Sarva dharman parit. Everything. We don't know distractions. 100% me or 0%. He's all or nothing kind of guy. Right? And hence, as an engineer, I was like, this is not going to work. I need someone who can show a back door to me. Yes. And this is where we come to why the Krishna consciousness movement is so very important, specifically the way that Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara has brought it. Yes. Why is it unlike anything else? So let me see if I can pull this up without destroying everything. Can you read the verse?
Hena prema Sri Chaitanya dila yatha tatha jagai madhai paryanta anera ka katha.
Translation, please.
Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has freely given this love of Krishna everywhere and anywhere, even to the most fallen such as Jagai and Madai. What then to speak of those who are already pious and elevated?
Back door. Yes. Krishna when he comes as the Supreme Lord himself is very strict. Yes. And hence, in the Kali Yuga, in the situation that we are in, it's very, very difficult to accept the instructions of the Shastras, of even the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, which can deliver everyone. But to chant without offenses, to chant with a pure heart, to continue doing all our activities in a very, very nice, pious way, is almost impossible. Yes. Even the demigods pray to come during the time when Lord Chaitanya appears. Why? Because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. But he comes with the kind, loving heart of Srimati Radharani. And in that love, he's completely intoxicated. Yes. And because he's Krishna himself who's completely intoxicated, he gives something that is the most desired fruit of all the Vedic penances, of all the Vedic sacrifices, of all pious activities, the perfection of our lives very easily. Just gives it to those that are completely not deserving of it. And I find myself completely in that situation. Without Lord Chaitanya, my dear friends, there is no chance that we will achieve the perfection of a life of loving Radha and Krishna. So this is the most critical part of what we within this temple specifically have to offer. A lot of people can say, oh, the traditions, and yes, all our traditions we offer are respectful obeisances, and we definitely do accept all of them. It's bona fide traditions. However, for people like me who are completely contaminated, barely manage to control our senses, barely manage to get out of this trap of chewing that is chewed, of how am I going to, how much should I save for retirement, and how should I take care of my family, and how should I take care of my health, and how should I do this and that, and so many other things, the impediments of our own mind and body, let alone everyone else. Trying to get out of it is almost impossible. And the hope is Lord Chaitanya. So the distinction between Chaitanya's gift to human society and the gifts of others, which are philanthropic, is that Lord Chaitanya is offering the highest perfection by just accepting simple, very simple formulas. And the one simple formula that he has is that with our hearts, we raise our hands and chant his names. Please. Gauranga! 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 In this beautiful narration, Srila Prabhupada and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is discussing that without Lord Chaitanya's mercy, there is no way of attaining the highest perfection of love of God, let alone trying to be happy. So, we come to the temple to be happy. There is means to be happy. We understand that there is difficulties that we are going through. And by the chanting of the holy names, we can get there. But we also understand that we are struggling to try to do that. And if we really, really want to get there fast, then we have to accept the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And there is only two things that they ask for. And this, please remember. One is to always chant the holy names of the Lord. And the second thing is very, very important. Please do not criticize anyone. that hard? Just chant. Anytime, anywhere. You might be in the restroom, for heaven's sake. You might be in the boardroom of a big company. Or just wherever you are, on your deathbed, just chant. But never criticize anyone. Yes. Just these two things. Gaurang Prabhu yesterday was saying there are three things that the mind is involved in. Yes. Anyone remember that? Yes, Prabhu. Comparing. Complaining, comparing, and criticizing. Yes. The three C's. And if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even not asking that, he's saying, just don't criticize anyone. And if we just do these two things, he guarantees that at the end of our life, he will, not even at the end of our life, even before that, he will give us the perfection of our life, which is loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So who will not accept it? So please, my dear friends, it's not very difficult. Wherever you are, sthane sthita shrutikata. Wherever you are, stay in your position, work our jobs, stay within the families that we have. But chant the holy names, and please don't criticize anyone. And if we do that, we are guaranteed that in this very life, we will achieve the highest perfection of loving Shri Radha and Krishna personally. And when we finish this bodily stuff, we go back home, back to Godhead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So I'm told to stop and have Narsingha Rupa Prabhu. Huh? One question. Oh boy, this is hard. No, I'm not going to do questions, but I'm going to have an announcement, because the guy in the back over there, his name is Srinath Krishna Prabhu. He runs our education program, specifically the Bhakti Shastri programs, which is a systematic study of 4 scriptures that we have. There is, of course, the Bhagavad Gita. Then there is the Sri Ishopanishad. Then there is the Nectar of Instruction, the Updeshamrita. And finally, and the most sweet and the beautiful, the Nectar of Devotion, or the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's a 2-year course. Every weekend he'll make you write a couple of essays once in a while. But we are starting a new batch, and before that I think there is an introductory. I think that's the right over there, the Bhaktivedanta Vedic Academy, right there. There are 6 modules that essentially go about 3 to 4 months each. And there will be an introductory module which is complementary, I believe. Is that right? Which runs for about 4 weeks, correct? And that will essentially give a synopsis of what the Bhakti Shastri course will be about. So you are welcome to join that before you can decide to commit yourself for 2 years. But it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for getting a little bit deeper into our understanding philosophically as well as practically. There's a group of students. I think we already have about 50. I think we just graduated. How many students did we graduate? 12 students graduated, and then 15 from the previous batch, right? So we have finished 2 sessions, 2 groups, and there is about 30 students that have graduated. Anyone here who has graduated from? Yeah, we have Madhav Brajnath Prabhu over there. We have Supriya Sakhi Mataji, Premachandra Prabhu in the back over there. See, they still live. But it's a very wonderful interactive way of actually learning the scriptures. So I would very much encourage you to join if you can. Srinath Krishna Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I mean, that was a wonderful introduction to the course. Thank you, Rasaraj Prabhu. It's an in-person course. It starts on October 6th. And the registrations are open, so you can apply at bvadallas.com. It's Bhaktivedanta Vedic Academy, so we shortened it to bvadallas.com. So you'll have all the information about the course and everything there. The only thing I would like to add is you have this Bhakti Shastri programs that are run by so many wonderful devotees all around the world, actually, many online programs. But the reason for us to run this Bhakti Shastri program here in Dallas is because this is for our community of devotees here in the Dallas area. So it's a way for all of us to come together and spend a good amount of time immersing ourselves in scriptures and also building relationships through the course of the Bhakti Shastri program and develop relationships that can help us practice devotional service throughout our lives, basically. That's our aim for having the Bhakti Shastri program here in Dallas, which is in person. So you can contact me if you have any questions. I'll stay around for some time, or you can go to bvadallas.com and the poster will come up and you can take a look at it when it comes up also. So thank you.
Are there any comments, corrections, questions? Please don't throw stones at me. Yes, Rajesh.
You said not to be critical or critical. However, here we are in Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, right? And Maya, one of Krishna's external energies, and I mean, we're all under that force. So in my experience, it's easy to say not to be critical, but that's the first thing. I mean, the speaker on the TED video, he was looking for a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing the coach did is brought up some criticism, right?
Mm-hmm.
His posture, what he was, the lighting, everything. So in order to advance, I mean, I think we all need mentors or maybe gurus or someone. But at the fundamental thing is criticism, right? I mean, how can we improve you got to be open to criticism, that's true, and be humble and take that criticism. But I mean, that's just one point.
Thank you, Rakesh. I mean, so my thought on this is that coaches don't criticize. Criticism is different from guiding. It's two different things. And a guide is going to correct. It's going to give direction. It's like a GPS. GPS doesn't criticize. It directs. Yes. If you're going in the wrong direction, it's going to try to point you where you want it to go. So once you put a map, once in the map, you put the address. This is where I want to go. Goloka Vrindavan. Yes. And there is a way to get there. And if you get off track, the GPS is going to bring you back. And that's the role of the coach, is to direct us back into the right direction. Yes. Criticism essentially means that it's done with a heart which is envious. Criticism means that I don't want you to succeed, and hence I will tell you what's wrong with you. I will pull you down so that you will not succeed. And the coach's job and responsibility is exactly the opposite. Criticism means that I am better than you, hence I'm telling you what is good for you. A coach is going to say, I want you to be better than who I am, and hence I'm telling you where you're going wrong. Yes. Criticism means that I don't want you to be happy. Yes. That's the basic principle. And the coach, the only goal for the coach is that, for the guru, is that the disciple should be happy. The disciple should succeed even more than the guru himself. In fact, it is an offense. Sometimes it is said that one should not give instructions to those that are not ready. Yes. And sometimes the guru decides to do that because they are too proud about themselves. That's actually an aparat to the holy names. So if we are coming from a position of, I am so great, I'm telling you what is right, then that is criticism. If you're coming from the point of envy, that is a problem. Does that answer your question?
I knew you'd have a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? That's all I have time for. Where did he go?
Jai. Let's all give Rasaraj Prabhu a big round of applause for the wonderful interactive class. Thank you. Hari Bo.
I just wanted to apologize for the audacity of speaking in front of some exalted devotees. Gokulananda Prabhu is here, Prem Chandra Prabhu, Narsingha Rupa.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank
Srila
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Rasaraj Prabhu.